What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Monday. Oh, you know what I'm going to talk about today is why most professionals are invisible out there in the marketplace. Yes. Oh, have some coffee? Mm-hmm. Oh, welcome to today's broadcast. Okay, importantly enough, after working with a little bit over almost 2,000 paid clients over the past 15 years, one thing that I was able to do is I was able to map the entrepreneurial journey, the levels that people go through. And the one at the most critical level, the very first level is level one, the professional. Yeah, that's the hustler, the one that wants to just launch themselves out there, the person that has 10, 15, 20 years worth of experience, and they're looking to launch out into the market. And, there's three things that they got to master and able to be able to do that and to scale that from that point forward. And that is one of them is going to be their market. Most people call it, pick a market, go down into the sub niche, into that market. I'm going to tell you that the total opposite. It's not about going into the market. It's about positioning yourself in the market that you are already at. Right? Let me give you an example of that. It was a couple years ago. Wow, yes, a few years ago, and there was a gentleman. He was a Cuban refugee. He had just arrived to the United States. He had arrived to the United States about 14 months before I met him. And the one thing was that he was doing Uber driving. He was listening to so somebody turned him onto a podcast. Hey, listen to this, and he was enamored with the whole idea of being able to learn while he was in his car and to listen. He was an engineer, and he said, "This is something incredible. Um, what gets shared is really incredible. That what people are sharing." He says, "I'm actually learning from this." And what happened then was he found out that there was this thing about their his knowledge, okay, in ways that he did not know how to do. And he started looking, and somebody recommended that he speak with somebody else that could help him, could teach him. And then one day somebody dropped my name, and he said he lives not too far from you, he can actually help you, get started in this whole internet thing. And so he called me. We spoke. Listen. uh he asked me, "Do I need a computer?" And I said, "Yeah, you're gonna need a computer, a laptop, something like, something that we're gonna be able to, edit and things like that." Because he didn't even have that. So he shows up, and we'd agreed on a price for me to coach him. Like, he was coming from zero. He never had a computer, for himself that he owned, only the ones in school when he was in engineering, and most of those were calculators and things like that. He was really good in the slide ruler, and we did a competition one day. But anyhow, so he came to touch a laptop for the very first time in my house. He brought the boxes new. He says, "How do I turn these things on?" Okay, so we opened the boxes. There were two Macs. We set them up. Showed him how to use his phone to create content to attract the people that he wanted to be positioned in front of. Remember, we don't go into a market; we position ourselves into the market. Now, we give you a little bit more about his backstory. He had come about 14 months earlier from Cuba to the United States as a refugee. While in that process, he moved here local, and then he wanted to do something because he found out that there was an easy way to make money in the internet. So I showed him how to position himself in his own market. In other words, don't go out there and find the market to position yourself. You already in a market. All of us, whether and we have 10, 15, 20 years worth of experience in a particular world, we are already positioned in that world. All we need to make sure is that we are known in that world. So we want to position ourselves as the authorities. We worked on that. Okay, so it was December 8th we parted ways because I was going overseas, and so we're no longer meeting weekly, as we were doing before, and helping him, showing him how to edit videos, and all. He learned all of this. Okay, well, within 60 days. Then it was on February the 4th, and here's an example about positioning yourself in the market. He was February 3rd or 4th. He calls me, says, "I have a problem," and I said, what's going on?" And he goes, my one of my bank accounts just got frozen. And I go, "You one of your bank accounts got what?" And he goes, "Yeah, he just got frozen." I said, "Wait, talk to me, fill me in on the details." And he goes like, "Yes, I did a webinar last night, a masterclass last night, and 30 people bought my program. So so all this money started coming into the bank, and the bank froze my account because now they want an investigation. I said, all right, perfect. Hold on, I still have access, to the system. So I went in. I was able to switch to a different payment processor so that we wouldn't lose any sales while we were, dealing with the frozen account. But he had actually sold 30 programs that night before at $997 each. And so I started laughing because I said, how did you position yourself in the market? Because we separated ways, and he did some things, and he was trying some different things. And he goes, I'm talking to the people, the refugees that are just coming in. He said, don't make the mistakes that I did. It took me 2 years. He says, so I can save 2 years, okay, of your journey in the whole process. This is what you gotta do first. This is what you gotta do second. I have this, and he said, I have it all mapped out. You guys want to know how to do this? Coming into my group. And that's how he sold it. So he positioned himself. Okay. Remember, this is his market. Okay. He's a refugee as well, just as everybody else. He's here going through everything, but he found out that there's a faster way. You don't have to do Ubers. You don't have to do, Uber Eats. Sacrifice all of that. For pennies when you can do it faster. So he positioned himself in front of the same people that were coming in, and what he did was he said, "I have the solution for you." Imagine that. $30,000 his first month on solo on the internet, selling his knowledge because he was just 2 steps ahead of the other people. And that's an example of a level one. So we got, the five levels of entrepreneurial growth, because entrepreneurship is a journey that you're going to go through. Okay. And level one is probably the most critical one. Level one is where you are actually looking to position yourself in the market. You're looking to your message, how you're going to connect with people, and you're also looking to to define the value of the solution that you are actually giving people. So it is critical, okay, to nail down those three, just like G did. He was able to position in front of other refugees that were just coming in, okay, and seeking asylum, and then he was able to position himself in front of them, give them a solution, and they gladly paid for that solution. Right, so that's how you can position yourself in the market. Now, the book. We can talk a little bit about the book. It's, the five levels of entrepreneurial growth. I mean, this is 15 years worth of research, 2,000 paid clients. Now, it's an instructional plus a framework. Okay, it's base. That's my base writing. Informational plus framework. So in other words, it's what you would call an execution driven playbook. Okay, so I'm not very verbose. I rather have, give me a little bit of information, and then give me the steps that I got to do to achieve the goals. It's a little bit of the ADD, and most of us as entrepreneurs. But so the book is written, and and 10 essential things that are in the book. First of all, is the key characteristics of each one of the levels of entrepreneurial growth. I'm going to give you, if you guys write the word book below, I'm going to send you a digital copy, of the book, and then you can do an assessment. It's a free assessment involved in this. That way you get to find out exactly where are you really, and what do you need to do to move up to the next level. So you go ahead, write the word book below, and now make sure that we'll go back, check the comments, and we'll send you a link, so you can get a digital copy of the book. Then we're also going to, what should you do first? As soon as you get into a level, what are the things that you need to do first? What are the mistakes that you need to avoid? The essential skills that you're going to need to master each one of the levels and be able to go to the next level. You can't say, I'm in level two, if you're really still doing some of the level one things. So go ahead and write the word book below. I'll send you a link so you can download, a copy of the book. There's an assessment that you can do as well. And then, we'll talk about, you positioning yourself just like G did in the marketplace, where you have something that you can really deliver to your communities. All right. So, and, oh, that was my life for today. Okay. I just want to let you know that you don't have to be invisible in the marketplace. Okay. In the marketplace, you can actually position yourself so that people feel attracted to you, because you see, experts got to go out there and chase people. Authorities are positioned, and people come to them. So, make sure that you go to, it's right here, right there with my name. Okay. It's the authorityshiftconverter.com. We have a copy there that you can download for the masterclass money map. Is my gift to you guys today. So go there and get that. and that way you can understand how you can utilize what you have up here, package it, put it in front of a group of people, and eventually you end up, having some high ticket clients that you can help at the other end. Right. So I want to wish you the best because today is a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.